did my lesson with a group of 8 first graders who are doing online schooling. The techniques that I based the lesson on was the student applies mathematical process standards to identifying coins, their values, and the relationship among them. So identify U.S. coins, including pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, by value and describe the relationships. So to start the lesson, I started with showing them just coins. I kind of got their basic knowledge on coins. So I asked them to just kind of look at them, see if they recognized any of them, see if they knew the names, the amounts, anything like that. Most of them could tell me what the coin was. They didn't 100% have knowledge on the value of each coin though. After that, I started out having each individual coin, and so I started out with the penny, and I told them that it was equal to 1 cent. I let them pass it around. They kind of looked at it, and they knew that the penny was worth 1 cent. After that, I went to the nickel, and I compared everything back to the penny. So I said the nickel is worth 5 cents. So if you have 5 pennies, you also have the value of 1 nickel. And I let them pass it around, do the same thing, look at it. And I did the same for both the dime and the quarter. And I let them pass it around, look at them, and I told them that, 10 pennies is also equal to 1 dime, and 25 pennies is also equal to 1 quarter. It's kind of comparing the values of the penny to each individual coin. After that, we kind of talked about it. I asked if they had any questions, and they asked if the other ones equal, if like a dime could equal a quarter, and I explained that to them that yes, if you have 2 dimes and 5 pennies, then you have a quarter. So I explained that to them as well. After that, I did a presentation on a laptop. And I did a PowerPoint, and it started out where it showed counting coins. And so it just had an image of coins. And then the next slide, it showed just 1 penny and the visual of 1 cent. So it had the symbol, it had the number, and everything. After that, we went to the nickel, and it was kind of just a review of that 5 pennies can equal 1 nickel. And again, it showed the symbol with the number value right here and here, showing that 1 nickel also equaled 5 pennies. Again, the same with the dime and the quarter. After that is whenever they got to do a practice just as a group. And here I had them practice. So I showed them, I had them try to remember which coin this was. And so we went over it, and we tried to remember that it was a dime, and then how much that was worth. And so I kind of would go back and forth. I would go back and show them, okay, so that was a dime, how much is it worth? And they'd remember, they'd see 10 cents. And so I tell them, remember, a dime is 10 cents. And so then we go back over here. And here they had to move the correct amount of coins over to this side under the dime. So for example, they would grab the coin, and they would drag it over. They would grab this coin and drag it over, this coin and drag it over. So they would count out 10 pennies over here, so that way it would equal the 1 dime. After that, we just did every other coin. We did the quarter, we did the nickel, and then after that, kind of threw them for a loop, and we did a penny to figure out how much pennies was in 1 penny. After that, I gave them their activity. The activity was a worksheet where it was basically the same thing. They had to match. The first part was matching, and it says, match the picture of the coin to the value it holds. So they had a picture, and they had to connect each one. It has the name, the image, and then the cents over here. And so they would match them. And throughout the whole time I was kind of walking around, just asking them if they needed help. I also had the jar with me, so that way I could show them visually with like the actual material in hand, so that way it would help them too. Most of them could get this pretty easy. After that, they did the second part of the activity was cut and paste. And so they had this sheet, which is like a harder cardstock paper, and they were told to cut out the coins. You can see the dotted lines. They were told to cut out each individual coin. And then over here on this sheet, it says cut out the coins and glue the correct coins listed in each box. And so they had 6 boxes here. And at the top of each box, it has an amount. So it says, in this box, they would glue 1 quarter and 2 pennies. In this box, they would glue 2 dimes and 1 nickel, and so on. And so it was just an actual activity where they would place the correct. They had to remember the name of the quarter or of the coin written, and then they had to remember what the coin looked like after they had cut them out. Again, the whole time I was walking around, making sure they didn't need help. Here is an example of one of the ones that one of the kids did. She matched each one. She kind of on hers, she got the dime and the nickel confused, and so you can kind of tell where she had drawn one line and then she had to erase it. But for the most part, she understood the coins. And then here is the example of her cut and paste. She cut out each individual coin and then pasted it into each square. With this one, the students struggled a little bit more, just figuring out which, after they had cut them out, which coin was which. And so with that, again, I went through with the actual coins and had them kind of remember. Also with like the different sizes of the actual coins, it kind of helped them a little bit. I tried to give them each an actual quarter, dime, nickel, and penny with them, so that way they could see it, because the cutouts weren't exactly the correct sizes. And so like the quarter is much bigger than the dime in real life, but these weren't. And so I kind of had them use that as well to help them. And that was the end of that assignment. After we kind of went over, I let them do the practice thing again, where they would drag them, and we also did kind of different versions where they would show with the quarter, they would put, two dimes and then the five pennies, or they would do 4 nickels and 5 pennies. They did it all different ways to show that they kind of understood the different ways that you could add up to the different coins. At the very end, we went over, again, we took out the coins. We went over which one was which. I would kind of ask them, I would hold up one, and I'd hold it up and I'd tell them, okay, what is this one? And they'd have to raise their hands, and they'd say, the amount. And then I'd ask, how many pennies are in this coin? And they'd have to raise their hands, and they would tell me how much was in it. And I tried to pick not the same students. If the same 2 students were raising their hands, I tried to pick different ones and let them try to answer, or I'd help them as much as they can, in case they were just nervous to answer. But I would hold it up, ask them how many pennies are in it, how many dimes are in it, how many nickels are in it. And that kind of helped them also make the connection from the relationships of the coins, as well as the value of them. And that was the end of the lesson that I did with the first graders that were doing online school just at their houses.